Goiânia is the capital and largest city of the Brazilian state of Goiás. With a population of 1,301,892, it is the second largest city in the central western region and the 13th largest in the country. Its metropolitan area has a population of 2,063,744, making it the 11th largest in Brazil, with an area of approximately 739 square kilometers. It has a continuous geography, with few hills and lowlands, with flat lands in most of its territory, especially the Meia Ponte River, in addition to Botafogo and Capim Puba streams. Goiânia is a planned city founded on October 24, 1933 by then-Governor Pedro Ludovico to serve as the new state capital and administrative center. Before this, the state capital was the town of Goiás. It is the second most populous city in Brazil's Midwest, only surpassed by the country's capital Brasilia. It is an important economic hub of the region, and is considered a strategic center for such areas as industry, medicine, fashion, and agriculture. Goiânia has the largest green area per inhabitant in Brazil and the second most in the world, after Edmonton, Canada. History. The idea of creating a new state capital had been bounced around from early on in the state of Goiás. The first plan came from D. Marcos de Noronha, who in 1753 wanted to establish the state capital in the municipality of Pernambuco. Again in 1863, José Vieira Couto de Magalhães put forward a plan to move the capital to the edge of the river Araguaia. The impetus behind the efforts to move the state capital was the need to locate it in accordance with the economic interests of the state. The first state capital, Vila Boa, had been chosen when the economy was based on gold extraction. Later, when cattle raising and agriculture came to dominate the state's development, the old capital was considered remote. Legislators kept the idea of change alive for a long time. In 1891, the constitutional delegates made the idea of the transfer of the capital official, including it in the constitution, ratifying it in 1898 and 1918. Vaguely remembered until 1930, the idea became a reality during the government of Pedro Ludovico, who was the new governor appointed from the state of Goiás after the military revolt of 1930. In 1932, a commission was created to choose where the new capital would be built. In 1933, the commission decided on the present location and the foundation stone was laid. The plan was for a city of 50,000 with the shape of a concentric radius, streets in the form of a spoke with the Praça Cívica as the center, with the seats of the state and municipal government, the Palace of Emeralds and the Palace of Campinas. In 1937, a decree was signed transferring the state capital from the Cidade de Goiás to Goiânia. The official inauguration only occurred in 1942 with the presence of the President of the Republic, governors, and ministers. The name Goiânia came about in 1933 after a contest was held by a local newspaper. Readers from all over the state contributed, with some of the most popular names being Petronia Americana, Petrolandia, Goianópolis, Goiânia, Bartolomeu Bueno, Campana, Eldorado, Anhanga, Liberdade, Goianésia, and Patria Nova, among others. In 1935, Pedro Ludovico used the name Goiânia for the first time, signing a decree creating the municipality of Goiânia. Art Deco. The first buildings in this planned city, designed by Atilio Correa Lima, were inspired by Art Deco. The collection of buildings is still representative, with 22 of them listed as National Heritage. Mostly built in the 1940s and 1950s, they have been recognized by the National Institute of Historical and Artistic Heritage. The 22 buildings and monuments are in the original center of Goiânia, as in the pioneering nucleus of Campinas, a town existing building before Goiânia. Due to lack of maintenance, several of these buildings are in a state of disrepair. Radiation incident on September 13, 1987. An old medical radiation source was scavenged from an abandoned hospital in Goiânia, causing several deaths and many non-fatal cases of radiation poisoning. Several city blocks had to be demolished due to the contamination. The International Atomic Energy Agency report noted that city and state officials acted with remarkable speed to prevent injury to the population. Geography. Climate. The city has a tropical wet and dry climate with an average temperature of 21.9 degrees Celsius. It has a wet season from October to April and a dry one from May to September. Annual rainfall is around 1,520 millimeters. The lowest temperature ever recorded was 0.5 degrees Celsius on July 18, 2000, in the suburbs. 1.2 degrees Celsius was the lowest recorded downtown on July 9, 1938. However, such lows are very rare. Temperatures may fall below 8 degrees Celsius every winter, mainly in the suburbs. The highest temperature ever recorded was 39.2 degrees Celsius on October 17, 2007. Vegetation. The Cerrado landscape is characterized by extensive savanna formations crossed by gallery forests and stream valleys. Cerrado includes various types of vegetation. Humid fields and berry tea palm paths are found where the water table is near the surface. Alpine pastures occur at higher altitudes and mesophytic forests on more fertile soils. More than 1,600 species of mammals, birds and reptiles have been identified in the Cerrado, including 180 reptile species, 113 amphibians, 837 birds and 195 mammals. Among the invertebrates, the most notable are the termites and the leafcutter ants. They are the main herbivores of the Cerrado, important to consuming and decomposing of organic matter, as well as constituting an important food source to many other animal species. Economy. While Goiânia's economy today is based on a variety of industries, the local economy's roots are found in the agricultural industry thriving in and around the city. The supply of agricultural equipment, tools, fertilizer and other products make up a large portion of the economic activity. Second to agriculture is the vehicle sales and service industry. Repairs, sales and reconditioning of vehicles are widespread and visible in all areas of the city. The third largest contributor to the economy is the government sector. As Goiânia is the state capital of Goiás, it is home to many federal and state government agencies that provide a large number of jobs. In recent years, modern telecommunications, with its supporting industry, has begun to expand into Goiânia. Many large Brazilian companies have established offices in the city. In addition, due to Goiânia being the state capital, it is home to countless private medical centers, clinics of all kinds. In 2005, the GDP of the city was 13,354,065 reals. In the same year, the per capita income for the city was 11,119 reals. Demographics. The population of the municipality in 2011, according to the IBGE, was 1,302,001 inhabitants, being the most populous municipality in the state and 12th in Brazil. The main reason for the large population is in the vicinity of Goiânia and Brasília that spurred the growth of the city and the region between it and the federal capital, making the axis Brasília-Goiânia's third largest agglomeration in the country, bringing together about 9 million people. The metropolitan area of Goiânia is currently the 10th largest agglomeration urban Brazil, with a population of 2,173,141. Presents a population density of 782.5 inhabitants per 1 square kilometer, the largest of its state. The Human Development Index municipal of Goiânia is considered high by the United Nations Development Programme at 0.832. The second largest of any state of Goiás, third of all Midwest region of Brazil, and 111 degrees from all over Brazil. Considering only the education, the index value is 0.933, while Brazil's is 0.849. The longevity index is 0.751 and income is 0.813. The city has most of the indicators high and similar to the national average according to UNDP. The literacy rate is 96.78% of adults. The incidence of poverty, measured by the IBGE, is 3.64%. The lower the incidence of poverty is 2.92%. The top is 4.35% and subjective poverty incidence is 4.35%. Social inequality. Among Brazil's metropolises, Goiânia has the lowest number of favelas, according to data extracted from the 2010 census by the Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics, the IBGE. The IBGE named 7 areas in Goiânia as being subnormal agglomerations, a government term for irregular housing. In these locales, however, most of the households to have electricity, water, and trash collection. While perhaps not fitting the criteria of favelas, Goiânia has several sectors, particularly on the outskirts, that are low income. Ethnicity and immigration. Goiânia is a multiracial city as the result of intense migration. The populace has intimate connection with the settlement of the interior of the Brazilian center-west, gradually attracted mainly by migrants from the interior of Goiás and other regions in other states of Brazil. People came from diverse backgrounds, which contributed to the mixed population, predominantly white and brown. According to the census of the IBGE 2010, in search of self-declaration, the population of Goiânia is composed of white, Pardo, black, Amerindian and Asian. In relation to another census conducted in 2000, there was a decrease of whites and Indians and an increase in brown, black and yellow. Initially, Goiânia was populated by migrants from the interior of Goiás. Its creation was crucial to the population growth in the state, since Vila Boa, the ancient capital, showed signs of declining population, is considered a setback for the state. The founding of Goiânia is now considered a successful settlement of the Brazilian interior. Today, the population coming from Goiânia is predominantly Minas Gerais, Bahia, Tocantins, Maranhão, São Paulo and Pará, respectively. Education. Portuguese is the official national language and thus the primary language taught in schools, with English and Spanish part of the official high school curriculum. Notable institutes include Universidade Federal de Goiás, Pontificia Universidade Católica de Goiás, Universidade Estadual de Goiás, Instituto Federal de Educação, Ciência e Tecnologia de Goiás. Infrastructure. Transportation. Road. Goiânia is connected to the federal capital, Brasília, via a 4-lane highway, and to São Paulo via a 2-lane highway. The state of Goiás maintains the main artery roads in and out of the capital, which are typically 2-lane roads. As Goiânia was a planned city when first created, the downtown codes are relatively easy to navigate. Along the years, the planned urban development was replaced by the typical Brazilian way of urban growth, pure laissez-faire. Social and urban demands were neglected. Due to this lack of planning and reliable public transportation, Goiânia is the metropolis with the highest number of cars per capita in the country. There are 1 million registered motor vehicles in the city. The many vehicles on the roads cause major congestion during peak times. The railway line was closed in the 1970s, though the Art Deco station remains open to the public. Nowadays, transportation of goods is carried out via the connecting highways. Public transportation. All public transportation is via bus. Bus service in Goiânia is provided by several transportation companies working under the municipality. There is a bus system map that can be found in our MTC site. Buses run on a predictable time schedule. Goiânia is the only city of South America that has the ITS technology of bus transport, but the buses are usually full. Unlike most Brazilian cities, there are no ticket collectors on the buses in Goiânia. All the fares are collected using magnetic paper cards and turnstiles. Passes are provided by SitPass and can be purchased from street vendors or in small shops throughout the city. Anhanguera Avenue is one of the longest avenues in the city. It underwent major work in the late 1990s that created a dedicated bus lane for its entire length, with stations every 0.5 kilometer. The bus lanes are in the center of the avenue, giving it a distinct look. The fare to travel on the Anhanguera bus route is half of normal fare, and all buses on this route are articulated buses. Under the new contract, firmed in 2009, many aspects of the public transportation are being changed. The terminal stations are now placed under administration of the companies that are refurbishing them. The buses are being equipped with GPS modules to solve the schedule problem and many other benefits. Adapted to give accessibility to disabled people, radios to give fast response on reroutes and other events, and other minor changes. The introduction of the city bus, a service of microbuses focused on giving a choice to people of higher wealth to use the public transit system instead of the cars, and to tourists who are visiting the city. Changes on EIXO Anhanguera and its terminals. It is unclear what changes that will be made, but one of the main issues under discussion is the much criticized change in fares. In future, a person that gets on a terminal from the axis to integrate with an intermunicipal metropolitan line will have to pay a complete fare. A north-south axis is part of the project, but as of August 2009 it has not been implemented yet. An operational control center that will monitor the bus traffic through GPS, a free number for users to call to know how much time is left before the next bus arrives, is another part of project that has not yet been implemented. Airports. Santa Genoveva Airport is on the northeast side Goiânia. 6 airlines fly out of this airport to destinations in Brazil, with a nominal yearly capacity of 600,000 passengers. In 2011 it handled 2.8 million passengers. With its new terminal, it will be able to handle up to 2 million users a year. Construction is underway for a new airport terminal, but it has been stalled and a new concurrence is being set to then restart their construction. The new expected date for inauguration was 2012. Modernization work will soon get underway at Goiânia Airport Terminal to help to minimize its overload problems. The new Santa Genoveva International Airport started operating in May 2016. Aerodromo Nacional de Aviação handles general aviation operations. Security. Goiânia is considered a safe city compared to most state capitals within Brazil. The average murder rate per year is under 450 persons per year according to the Goiás State Police. It was, however, found in a study in 2011 performed by a Mexican think tank, the Citizens Council for Public Security and Criminal Justice, that Goiânia ranks as the 40th most dangerous city in the world. The city is patrolled and under the watch of the Goiás military police, which is responsible for responding to crime and maintaining checkpoints in the city and state. The military police are normally dressed in light tan military uniforms while patrolling. The prosecution and investigations of crime and all administration issues are handled by the civil police. Within Goiânia, traffic rules are enforced by the AMT, whose members are traffic wardens with some minor police powers. This unit falls under the ownership of the city. The responsibilities are to ensure road rules are enforced and attend to all accidents on the city streets. Green areas. Goiânia is home to a large number of skyscrapers dominating the center and one-floor family homes spreading out across the verdant tree-covered plain. Many of the streets are lined with tropical fruit trees, and there are many parks with remnants of the original tropical vegetation. 30% of the city area is planted in trees. 3.75 square kilometers of the 11 square kilometers. The most important of these parks are the Parque Zoológico, Parque Vaca Brava, Parque Ecológico, Bosque dos Burritos, and Parque Real. One of the biggest parks is the Bosque dos Burritos, with an area of 140,000 square meters and containing many berry tea palm trees, which have a yellow fruit. Parque Real is home to monkeys native to the area. Almost all of the parks are surrounded by walking paths. Goiânia is famous for being the spring capital and was planned as a modern city, growing outside from the center. In the starting years, this building plan worked well, but through the quick growth the plan was not followed to the letter, with the exception of the green areas, causing severe infrastructure problems in some areas, in particular with the public transport and healthcare systems. In the Bosque dos Burritos is the Monument for World Peace, designed by Sir Franco. This monument contains a 7-meter-high ample with walls of glass and the soil of more than 50 countries from all over the world. Every year on World Environment Day there will be scattered soil of a new country added. Another attraction is the Chico Mendes Botanic Garden, housing trees and flowers like bromelias, orchids, fruit trees, and a lake. Parque Zoológico, created in 1946, the zoo contains over 1,000 animals, including mammals, birds, and reptiles. 5 streams have their source in the park, which, besides the zoo, contains the Horto Florestal and the Lago das Rosas. The park is in the Setor Oeste, one of the richest and most beautiful residential areas of Goiânia. Berry Tea Park. In the center of the city, this is Goiânia's oldest green area. It has an area of 120,000 square meters. There is a running track and exercise area that has pull-up bars and sit-up benches with various inclines. There are 3 artificial lakes created by Berry Tea Stream. It is home to the Goiânia Art Museum and the Free Center of Arts. It houses a group of marmosets and many turtles. Vaca Brava Park, renamed Parque Sullivan Sylvestre after Dr. Sullivan Sylvester Oliveira. Every day at dawn, hundreds of people begin the daily activities by walking or jogging along the sidewalk that encloses Parque Vaca Brava. It has an area of 18,000 square meters and contains a lake, a forest with native species and places for exercise. Vaca Brava has become a symbol of the new thriving area of the Setor Bueno, which has flourished in recent decades and is now one of the most important zones of Goiânia. Areao Park. The Areao is one of the largest green areas of Goiânia. In a wealthy area, it is famous for its dense vegetation, where monkeys are spotted very often. Besides the many trails, there is a lake, a jogging route and many wooden buildings, including a small theater, consisting of a stage and many seats in the middle of a bamboo forest. Cobra Vega Center for Snake Research, located in an area of 44,000.5 square meters, it has an infrastructure for 750 serpents of different species, in addition to a laboratory and a rodent house. Its main activities are the extraction of poison for medicinal purposes, research on behavior of serpents in captivity and the recuperation of degraded areas and the preservation of springs and the forest. Leisure. The leisure options are diverse. There are many shopping malls. There are numerous gyms, public and private. The city has a 45,000 capacity stadium, the Serra Dourada Stadium. Goiânia has a racetrack, a kart track and a horse racing track. Sports. Goiânia has 5 football clubs: Atlético Clube Goianiense, Goiânia Esporte Clube, Goiás Esporte Clube, Monte Cristo Esporte Clube and Vila Nova Futebol Clube. Goiás competes in the Série A, Atlético competes in the Série B and Vila Nova in Série C. Museums. The most important museums are the Museu Antropológico da Universidade Federal de Goiás, Instituto Goiano de Piauí de História e Antropologia, Fundação Museu da Ornitologia, Museu da Arte Contemporânea and Museu Zoroastro Arteaga. One interesting place is the so-called Memorial de Serrado. Music. Goiânia is home to one of the most important rock scenes from Brazil. It started in the early 1990s, with the creation of the first independent rock festivals in the city. Independent labels like Monstro Discos, Two Beers and Not Two Beers and Insetus flourished and have been crucial to support and broadcast the scene, which, being completely independent from the mainstream media, sometimes is not known even to native Goianienses. The main styles are alternative or indie rock, represented by bands like MQN, Black Drawing Chalks, Violins, Torn Birds, Hang the Superstars, Valentina, Nem, Fantasma de Agnes and Floras Indecentes. Punk and hardcore by bands like Desastre, Vacilo, Resistance, Descarga Negativa, Senors, Umbril and HC 137. A metal with bands like Resonancia Morphica, Spiritual Carnage, Eternal Devastation and Holphoria. There are 2 major independent festivals held in the city, Bainanada and Goiânia Noise. Goiânia, as the capital of a state that was rural until the 1980s, has been traditionally influenced by the sertanejo style, strongly connected with the countryside lifestyle. Though the sertanejo is still an icon of Goiás culture, the rock scene is seen by some as a response to it and is the creative center of a Goianiense legitimately culture, independent of the countryside culture. Goiânia is a leading center in the underground rock movement in Brazil, with several double success. Goiás itself is the cradle of sertanejo genre. Explosion was at 91 and ends today with the university backcountry. Earlier, singers relied on radio to get to fame. Health. Goiânia is a national reference in several areas of medicine, especially ophthalmology, neurology, burn treatment, and leprosy. Health data. Infant mortality rate 21.30 in 1,000 live births. Hospitals 60. Hospital beds 6.037. Walk-in public health clinics 667. Doctors in the public health system 6,315. Nurses in the public health system 808. Dentists in the public health system 659. International relations. Twin towns, sister cities. Goiânia is twinned with